morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We've got quite a lot of people joining us this morning, which is absolutely fantastic. Just while we wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join us, why don't you pop in the chat function, say hello, introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your business. Obviously, if we were face to face, you'd be able to network before the presentation. So we don't want you to miss that out. So yeah, go pop in the chat function. Also, make sure that you send it to panelists and attendees so everyone can see your message. As much as we love seeing them, we don't want attendees to miss out as well. So yeah, pop in the chat function, just say hello, introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your business. You're welcome to put your contact details in there if you want. That's not a problem whatsoever. So we'll give it another minute or so before we get started. So I'm going to see, Kathy, what did you get up to at the weekend?
Oh, goodness gracious me. Sorry, I was working at the weekend. In fact, one of the things I was doing was getting the slides ready for today and the little resource that we put together for afterwards as well. So yeah, I was playing a bit of catch up over the weekend, I must say.
No, that's fine. I know you also last time, the 26th of Feb. God, this time goes so quickly. You were upholstering a chair. How did that go?
Oh no, I'm not that clever.
Sorry.
I was painting a table, and that turned out really, really well. I'm really chuffed about that. I love my chalk paint.
Love that. So just while we wait, feel free if you want to pop in the chat function, just introduce yourself, say hello. So hi, Elizabeth from sunny Heybridge. I'm really bad at pronunciation. Liz is here from Mojo Activewear. Hi, Anne from the UEA. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm conscious that obviously everyone loves what Emma and Kathy does, so I'm not going to take up much more time. Oh, they're all flooding in now. Hi, Kim from Langley School. Hi, Emma from Gerald's Training. Hi, Michelle from the Validation Centre. And yeah, hi everyone. I'm just going to get started because if not, I'm going to take up Kathy and Emma's time, which is no good because that's what you're here for. So thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who don't know, my name is Kayleen Harrington and I'm the event manager for Norfolk Chambers of Commerce. So before I get started, I just wanted to let you know that I'm really excited that the B2B exhibition will, hopefully, government permitting, be taking place on Thursday, the 14th of October. The B2B exhibition is Norfolk's largest business-to-business exhibition. It's completely free to attend and attracting hundreds of businesses on the day. B2B is a highlight on the Norfolk events calendar, and I'll pop the event page in the chat. Also, if you attended in 2019, you might have seen Kathy presenting a lovely workshop as well. So, the top 10 creative apps to bring your social media to life. Social media posts with images have 650% more engagement than text-only posts. Are you making the most of this visual revolution to attract and engage with customers? In the 60-minute webinar, Kathy Ennis and Emma Good, co-founders of 24 Degrees, will show you the role of visual communication in business, how to create effective eye-catching visuals using a variety of apps and online tools, and how to integrate visual communications into your marketing plan. During the presentation, there'll be live Q&As where Kathy and Emma will answer your questions. So feel free to pop your questions in the Q&A function, but don't worry if you pop them in the chat. So please use the Q&A function. Oh, I said that, so let's ignore that. So for those of you, I'm getting ahead of myself. I know my script on myself by heart now. I say it so often. So before I hand over to Kathy, we've got Andrea here as well, who's from the Norfolk Chamber. She's just shadowing me because she'll be hosting future events as well. So that's why she's here. So Kathy, over to you.
Thanks very much, Kayleen, and hello everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday morning. My name is Kathy Ennis and I'm based in Old Hunstanton in West Norfolk, and I'm a business mentor and a trainer, and what that actually means is that I work with businesses either when they're starting up or when they want to get bigger, they want to grow, they want to make more money. I help them understand the sorts of things that they can do with their business to either get that business started properly and attracting customers, or the kinds of things you can do in a growing business to make sure that you get more customers. So a mentor's role is to help you pull out the business actually in the business. And I work quite strongly with lots of businesses that need some help as well around their push for their, what I describe as their engagement marketing. So who is it that they need to speak to? What is it that they need to speak to them about? And I help them design processes for that. But then that's where my best friend and colleague and business partner, Emma Good, comes in, because Emma's the person that makes the magic happen after I've said this is what you need to do. So I'll pass over to Emma so she can tell you a bit more about what she does.
Thank you, Kathy. And I just wanted to share that Kathy and I don't normally wear the same top. We don't organise it, but it just seems to happen. We're morphing into one person as lockdown goes on. So as Kathy said, my name is Emma Good. I have a digital marketing agency called 24 Fingers. We help people that are all fingers and thumbs with their online stuff. People are told nowadays that they've got to be posting on social media 24/7. They've got to be doing groups, they've got to be doing live blogs, you know, they've got to be hustling. And what Kathy and I do is demystify all of that, so people know what the algorithms are really doing and how to get the best out of social media when you're running a business. You know, none of us have got 24 hours a day to do all this stuff. So I'm here to take away all the jargon, give you some really practical tips on how to get more return out of your digital marketing. I know small business owners are spending a lot of time, effort and click budget on this stuff. So hopefully I can tell you some tips about how to kind of cut through all of the jargon, cut through the tech stuff, and see what effect all of this is having on your bottom line.
Absolutely. And I think one thing to say is that, you know, we've got about an hour with you. We're looking at 10 things, so we won't be going into anything in massive amounts of depth. We're going to have to skim across quite a few things, but we want to bring them to your attention so that you know that they are there and the sorts of things that you can do with them. But going forward, if you want to talk to us about any of these things, we'll make sure that you've got a way of contacting us, and actually you can book a session straight into our joint diary so you can have a conversation about your specific needs if you want to. So I'll make sure that you've got that link, because yeah, it's not as if we can tell you the nitty-gritty about press that button and hey presto, this is going to happen. But we want to bring to your attention 10 things that we think could make a difference to the way you present your information. Okay.
And I wanted to give everybody some peace of mind. The last time Kathy and I did this session face to face, we had a group of 10, 20 business owners in a room together, all of them really, really nervous about doing video and what button to press on the phone. By the end of 2 hours, without exception, every single one of those business owners had created a video using their iPhone or their Samsung device. They'd uploaded it to Instagram and they were getting engagement. So please don't fear if this is something new to you, because all of this stuff is easy to do, and it won't cause you any headaches or stress, because none of us need that in lockdown.
Yeah, and the vast majority of this stuff you can do on your phone, but most of them have some kind of desktop version as well. So if you're more comfortable with using a keyboard and a mouse, you can use things that way as well. So don't think, if you're like me, constantly trying to see what your phone's doing and got fingers that don't seem to want to work on a keyboard that small, don't feel that you have to do everything on the phone. So I'm going to share my screen. But we will bounce in and out of things because we've got some things that we want to show you, Blue Peter style. Here's some stuff we made earlier, and can I just say that they're not Tracy Island. They are really rough and ready. So I'm just gonna pull up some slides here, and I just want to explain to you why we're working under the 24 Degrees brand. Is that when Emma and I have got a joint company where we work together on this kind of stuff, and that's 24 Degrees. So that's why we're coming at you with that branding today. As I said, this is who we are. There's our email address. I know that Kayleen's going to send you a copy of the slides, and we've got a resource that you can get hold of as well. So don't worry about having to scribble loads and loads and loads of stuff down, because you will get this as we go through. Okay, so Emma, can I pass over to you for the trending stuff?
You can. So without exception, when I look at a client's analytics, whether that's Facebook or Instagram, I see that images and video absolutely outstrip when we put in text and link-based posts. So for any of you that are on Facebook yourselves, you'll see that when video appears in your feed, it gets lots of engagement. I would say text-based posts nowadays are getting like 0% engagement. Video and images slightly better, not huge, because of the paid and organic argument on social media. But certainly if you want to have any chance of standing out, then I would highly encourage everybody to start thinking video and start thinking images. Text-based stuff and link-based stuff just doesn't cut it anymore. So if you're on the fence, I'm really hoping that today's session will convert you, purely because of the numbers. You know, social media is a pay-to-play arena now. And if you can't pay, then we need to make our stuff really engaging, and video and images will do that in a way that text can't now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're going to highlight 10 things that you can use, 10 of thousands and thousands and thousands. And it's not as if we're saying you've got to use all of them. If there's one that you really like or two that you really like and you're going to use them regularly, that's great. But it's just about giving you options and ideas about what you can do. And I think the other thing about the trend is that it's across the board in terms of the social platforms. That, Instagram's a hungry visual beast, obviously. Facebook is moving that way. LinkedIn is definitely something where people engage with images and motion. So yeah, you definitely need that in there as well.
Just adding on to that, Kathy, in terms of LinkedIn specifically, you might think, well, actually, I don't want to do a video of myself. But a video or a slide share of your presentations would be really good on LinkedIn. People love that type of value-added content. So if ever you're doing a presentation and you've got slides, pop them onto LinkedIn in the slideshare format that's free to use on LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn product, but it's free to use. And that way you're kind of doing a video, but you're certainly giving a visual twist on data.
Yeah, and you can do that in your feed, but also in like featured content on LinkedIn too. You can actually put that there in your profile section, which means that people get to know you and like you a bit more through that kind of content too. So yeah, it's not just the feed that we're looking at, it's about the whole shebang. And in fact, we did something on Facebook last week, and we were talking about the cover image area at the top of your Facebook page. That can be a video too. So and it doesn't have to be like a shot video in terms of like a talking head or something. It can be a video created through having images sliding across with overlaid text and things like that. So you know, it's not just about sharing it in the feed. There are other places that you can use this as well.
Shall I do this bit, Kathy?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the bottom upwards, for those of us that have got a photo library account, something like Shutterstock, you'll see that there's lots of American-looking people with white teeth and shiny hair. Actually, do you know what works nowadays? It's authentic imagery of us doing what we do best. So even while we're in lockdown, I'd really encourage people to start taking snaps of yourself doing your daily job. So if you're a product-based business and you're wrapping stuff up to put in the post, take a video of that. If you're dog walker, take a picture of your dogs, you know, make it about you, and that authenticity will really, really shine through in a way that stock photography just doesn't. Charts and data videos and presentations I mentioned earlier, but if you've got anything of value that you can convert into an animation of some kind, do it. People nowadays are watching stuff online rather than clicking through to websites, and if you can subtitle your videos or your presentations, then so much the better. Something crazy like 70% of people on Facebook watch videos and don't click the volume button. And if anybody's done videos on Facebook, there's a way of looking at your stats to see how many people actually click the tap the volume button, how many people actually watched it the whole way through. And I bet you bottom dollar, if you're seeing your videos not have much engagement at the start, it's because people don't know that they need to click the volume button, so they're sitting there in silence. So do try and subtitle your stuff, and Kathy and I can help you do that in a really cost-effective manner. And where possible, make your graphics and videos about you doing what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing better than that. And I will give a really good shout out for a good selfie stick, because actually a good selfie stick is a great way of doing photographs of you that don't look like you're, you know, hand up in the air kind of thing. Quite a few of them now have Bluetooth connection, which means that, you know, you can position it in a certain way. So if you want some like over the shoulder shots of you at your computer working, maybe you're in professional services or something like that, or actually, dare I take a photograph of my incredibly messy desk, that kind of thing. That reality is quite crucial. I know somebody was asking about where to get good quality images. Emma mentioned stock photography. It doesn't have to be that expensive. You can take out subscriptions with things like Shutterstock. I've used one called Big Stock in the past. There are some nice places where you can get freebie ones. One that comes to mind is something called Pixabay. But actually, I have a subscription to Canva, which is something we'll mention in a little while. And with their paid for subscription, which isn't very much per year, they have a really, really good image library. So all of the images I use that are like static images, I get from Canva. So, you know, do be aware that there are ways that you can get good quality images that are more sort of not you doing stuff, if that's what you want to use.
And a quick reminder there that we do have some amazing photographers, I'm sure, on this call. So if you can support any of the local photographers, I know they would love to hear from you. And the photographers that I work with in Essex, they're doing social distance packages at the moment. So do speak to them, because if somebody can capture you in a professional way, it's so much easier, better. They get the lighting right, they'll star you, they'll do all the stuff. So yeah, do try and use your local photographer team.
Yeah, because they're not just about taking headshots, they take what we call personal brand photography. So they can actually take photographs of the work environment as well, but brand them in a way so that they know that they're yours. So it's really worthwhile investing in a good photo shoot. Brand colours.
I've got to get mine done. I haven't done mine for years.
Do you want to carry on with this one then, Emma?
Yes. Kathy talks a lot about your brand. Each of us have got a unique brand, and it's not just about your logo, it's about what you say, how you come across, and part of that is your colour scheme. So on my website, for example, 24 Fingers, I've got these 5 colours. Each one of them represent a social media platform. So you've got the red for Pinterest, you've got Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. So my colours fit in with what I do. So do have a think about how your colours represent you. And if you've only got one colour in your business, you can go over to something called Adobe Colour Wheel and get complementary shades. So I would put in the dark blue, and I would get these opposite contrasting colours. So do check that out. Adobe Colour Wheel can be really, really good for coming up with accent colours on your social media, for example.
Yeah, it's a free to use resource, and it's a great way, particularly if you're not great in terms of colour and colour choice. It sort of takes the guesswork out of it for you. And I think with most brands, what you should be looking for is having your main colour with an accent that sits against it. Whether that's harmonious will depend on the type of business you're in. If it's like a complementary, so those are opposites, again, that depends on the type of business you're in. But I would definitely do that. And please make sure that you make a note of what's called the hex number. So that's the hashtag symbol with a row of letters and numbers after it, because that will allow you to specify that colour absolutely everywhere it goes on your website. If you're creating documents in Word or PowerPoint or anything like that, it just keeps that brand colour story going. And as Emma said, if you're going to go in and create some things of your own, what you want to do is follow that colour through as well. So if you've got those hex numbers, you'll make sure that you'll never be off kilter in terms of your colourways. And I just want to give a shout out to one of my favourite things, which is called Colorzilla. And yeah, it's not spelt incorrectly, it is the American spelling. Now, this is a little extension that you can put onto the Google Chrome search bar. And it looks like a little pipette, a little eye drop pipette. And what you can actually do is, if you open up a website, could be your own, could be somebody else's, and you see a colour that you like the look of, what you can actually do is you can take that pipette and you can hover it over the colour, and it will tell you precisely what the hex colour is of that colour, so that you can then go on and use that. So if, for example, you've got a website and you don't know what the colours are on your own website, and believe me, this happens a lot, you can actually go and colour pick them now, so that you'll never have to guess again. But I use it all of the time. I love it. So tiny little thing, freebie extension for your Google Chrome search bar. So go and have a look of that. Okay, so do you want to come on with fonts then, Emma? Because we had a discussion about this morning, didn't we?
We did talk about fonts, yeah. Kathy and I are launching a new website for our training business, 24 Degrees, and we were talking about fonts, and I said to Kathy, the font that we've chosen I didn't feel appealed to our two different target audiences of school leavers and maturepreneurs, and so we're going to revisit the font. The important thing on the font is that we need to make sure it's Google safe. Google got a set of fonts that will work across websites, that will work across email, that will work across everywhere. Do try and use a Google safe font, because it will make your life so much easier. Otherwise, you can have one font when you email, one font when you do Canva, one font when you do your website. Life's too short for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing about brand and messaging is consistency. So consistency in colours, consistency in font, even consistency in terms of sometimes when you're using your font, whether things are in uppercase or lowercase or mixed. So yeah, it's really important. And if you don't know these kinds of things, again, there are websites out there where you can take a sample of the font that you use on your website or something, and it will tell you what font or the closest font to it, so that you can start using that consistently. And yeah, so do you want to carry on with this one then?
Yeah,
Emma?
that's good. So I talk a lot about this in social media. We need to make sure that our social media profiles are our shop window, so that they're fit for purpose. And there's a few areas of real estate on things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn that we can use to sell ourselves. Do try and get the right size cover photos for your social media. There's nothing worse than seeing stuff cut off. If you go onto Canva, they've got pre-built templates already for things like Facebook cover image, for example. So make life easy, just pop onto there, pop in your images and your words, and you can design them there. Cover photo is also a great way of sharing campaigns with your followers. So every month, for example, with my business, we change our cover photos for the campaign of the month. This month, we've got a free content calendar for March. So if anybody's struggling with ideas about what to post, typically on a Sunday, I know lots of small business owners sit there scratching their head about what they can post on social media for the month. Do grab it, and I'll pop the details in chat. So we change our cover photo to highlight the fact that we've got a new content calendar available.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you think about how people react to things, particularly online, one of the first things that draws their attention is colour. The second thing that draws their attention is shape. The third thing that draws their attention is words. So this is why imagery and moving imagery is always really important, but grounding it in terms of the colorways and perhaps the fonts that you're using is absolutely crucial, because you're sending that consistent message. Right, so number one is Canva. So we're diving now into the 10 that maybe we think are the ones that you could start with. As I say, there are thousands of these things out there, but these are the ones that we've used and we've experimented with. But I think it's fair to say, Emma, that Canva is the one that you and I use probably, God knows how many times a day, in terms of what we do. You can have a free version of Canva, so that there is a free version of it. It's slightly limited in some of the things that you can do, and the access to some of the things. I think the paid for version is about £100 a year, but the actual things that £100 spend opens up to you is phenomenal. So it opens up a much wider image library. It opens up the ability to do different things with what you're creating. It opens up new other templates. but Canva in itself is great. So you can create static images, and I haven't put this screenshot on here because I want everybody to look at my face. But I wanted to take a screenshot just as an example of some of the work that I did last week. And it was just it's just about pulling together some of the things. So you can see I was working on some of the cover art for my social last week, and I was pulling something together for my blog, and something for International Women's Day, and a booklet for some training that we were doing. So you can see the kinds of things that I was doing. But within Canva, you can animate things as well. So, you know, you can have images that really pop. One of the best things I posted last year was a simple image, and all it had was an arrow on it, but the arrow itself was animated, and that was just enough to make people stop and take notice of what it was that I actually posted there. Anything you want to add in there, Emma?
I wish I'd invented it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it is taking over the world. They've even now got, I mean, you can do anything from Instagram images to PowerPoint presentations, you know, and anything and everything that you can think about. And now they're even getting into, with the paid for version, the ability to create what look like videos by mashing together images with text over them. So, you know, that it's almost like a platform for all of that visual need that you might have.
I'm just going to answer Anna's question, who asked if the animation effects are available on the free version. Some are, but all the animation effects are available on the paid. So I think they let you animate certain aspects, but they don't give you the whole shebang until you upgrade. I was going to say, actually, I spoke to 2 graphic designers on Sunday. I need some Canva work done, and they both said, oh, you know, we don't touch Canva. And I was thinking, well, practically 80-90% of all the small businesses I speak to all use Canva. So if they're not pivoting and offering a service to train their clients in Canva, they're missing a trick here, because it is the way of the world. And as I think it was Richard said in the comments, it is like having your own graphic designer. It's brilliant. And I'm no graphic designer, and I can output stuff on Canva. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I will add in there, it doesn't do away with the need for a graphic designer, because there are times when we need something that's really, really well designed and well thought through. But for a quick social post, I'm not going to be paying somebody £75 to £100 each time I want one of those things. If I've got £100 subscription to something where I can do it, where I can do that kind of stuff myself. So I think there's a need for both. It's exactly the same as the difference between perhaps doing some of your own regular posts on your social media, but paying somebody to handle your Facebook advertising. There's a difference in terms of level. So yeah, it is a really, really great platform. And if you were going to invest in anything, personally, I would say this would be the investment that I would recommend. So that's just me. Okay. So the next one is Adobe Photoshop Mix. So Emma, have you got this as a video?
Just double checking.
Because quite a few of these I've had to include the static image, because Emma's got the actual video on a YouTube channel, and just to explain, these little videos that we're using, we're not holding them up as examples of brilliant stuff, but the fact is that session that we spoke about, where people were creating things, these are just examples of things that people were creating, and a lot of these things that we've pulled forward are platforms that Facebook, for example, hold in high esteem. And the link that's in the left-hand corner of this slide is actually a link to where you can go and see one of these in action that Facebook has created. So,
Kathy, just on that, we haven't got that one as an animated, so I think it is. I've got the other Adobe, but not Photoshop.
Oh, right, okay.
I think that one's a flat I think that's a flat image, isn't it? If not,
yeah. So if I stop sharing,
yeah.
What I'll do is I'll just go in and get that URL so that I can show you what it looks like in reality. So let me just pop that into here.
Yeah, I've got the others.
There we go. So let me just share my screen again. Here we go. So here we go. So this is something that they've put together here. And if I just show you this, oh, hello, there we go. So this is the kind of thing that you can do with Photoshop Mix, and actually you can see where you can choose bits, you can put backgrounds in, you can overlay images, and to really, and I think it works really nicely with product if you've got product, but that doesn't mean that you can't do exactly the same with say a picture of you in your office, or you know, like a reveal or something like that. So it's actually a really nice simple tool that you can get hold of, and as you can see, you can download it for both iOS and Android. One of the things that we've made sure that we've done here with the ones that we're recommending, that for example Facebook recommend, is that we've gone for the ones that are both iOS and Android, because there is a problem, I suppose, with some of the Facebook stroke Instagram stuff, is that they do tend to err towards the iPhone, whereas that then all of those millions and millions of other people that don't have one of those, me, would not be able to use those things. So we've gone for things that you can use on both platforms. So you can see it's actually a really nice simple little tool that you can use to create really sort of eye-popping, eye-catching videos, just to make somebody stop. And what we talk about is we talk about creating thumb-stopping content. That's what we want to do. So people sit there with their phone, you know, I sit there of an evening just scrolling through it, and then something will just make me stop the scroll. And that's what we want to do with these things, just enough to make people think, oh, what's that? Okay, loads of text isn't necessarily going to do that. In fact, what it's going to make people think is, oh God, we've got to sit here and read all of that. Whereas something that just pops like that is going to have a very, very different impact. So let's just pop back to the slides if I can find them. Yeah, here we go. So that was we did this image, but basically what it was is where you saw that background changing on the sample I showed you, we actually just had the 24 was just sort of pulsing on there in terms of that image, and also the 24 fingers logo in the middle was sort of brightly shining.
Doing things.
Yeah, so that's what we did with that one. So that's a really simple one. Now this is Adobe Spark Post. Have you got that one, Emma?
Give me 1 minute. Yes. Okay.
Now I made these videos for this in a very, very, very short time. So I definitely apologize for the quality. But if this is what you can do in 2 minutes, if you put a little bit more time into it, it will make it.
This little piggy.
Really, Kathy?
Yeah.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed at home. This little piggy ate roast beef. Oh dear, this little piggy had none. But this little piggy went wee, wee, wee all the way home. If you're ready to get your business off to market, then we need to talk. I'm Kathy Ennis. Contact me today.
Apologies.
She's blushing. Don't blush.
But I was trying to give the example of how you might use it as a call to action video. Those were just some static images, some brand-based images that I've got that I was able to put up on basically like a slideshow, and just do a commentary that sat behind it. As I said, that you can tell it took about 2 minutes to do, but with a little bit more thought, you can get something a lot better. Now, I will say that you can use that on your phone, but I found it a bit more clunky, so I actually did that one on the desktop version. So as I said, depending on how you feel, that might be the way that I would get you to think about, am I easier with the desktop, or is it better with the phone? Okay, so let's go to the next one.
What one have we got next?
Right, let me just go to here. And the next one is Boomerang. Most people, I think, may be familiar with Boomerang. Boomerang is while Emma gets that going, Boomerang is an app that you can use to create a very short burst video which runs on a loop. So you may have seen them where people have, say, waved, and it just keeps looking like people are waving like that. That's Boomerang. You can use it directly within Instagram itself, or you can use it as the separate app. I would always recommend using it as a separate app, because the quality of the actual picture is better. I don't know why, but it seems to be better if you use it as a separate app rather than taking a Boomerang within Instagram itself. It also means that if you shoot the Boomerang outside of Instagram, you've actually got it where you can share it in other places as well. Okay.
I'll just start sharing.
So this is the lovely Beline, who's part of Emma's team. I love her wallpaper. And so she's just throwing the balls up in the air, and that's just looping. But you did something extra here as well, didn't you, Emma, with this? Because did you use this as a story
yeah, and then we asked a question. I think we're putting some Insta effects. So what you can do, you can upload your Boomerang into Insta, into stories, and then start putting in stickers, polls. I think she asked a question. I can't remember now. It feels like ages ago now. Yeah. And again, that it doesn't take a lot of time to do, but increases your engagement, increases the interactivity.
Yeah, and I think this is what we're looking at. As I said, it's not necessarily creating Gone with the Wind or Avatar. What we're looking at is creating something that make people say, oh, hang on a second, what are they doing, what are they saying? And I think being able to use something like that in a story, perhaps on Instagram or on Facebook, where you can then up the engagement by using the ability to ask questions, have a poll, tag other people in the back of it, that kind of thing, will really make a difference to your content. Okay, so that's that one. And the next one is Mojo.
Mojo, got that?
Yeah. Got to get that working.
Okay, I've got that next.
And by the way, those little images that are up by the name are are like the logos of each of the platforms. So if you're searching for them, perhaps in the iPhone store or in like the Google Play Store, you know that you're getting the right one if you look for that logo. That's why I included them on there.
So this one, Valine's such a short one, but she's basically animated text and animated a little element of that.
Yeah. So again, this has been used in a story format, but you don't have to just use them for stories. You can use them for any orientation of image that you want. And the idea is that you can unfold a story with it, and we're going to look at something called unfold in a moment, but you can unfold a story within it. So, and then overlay the text. So a lot of these things look a bit like video, but they're not quite video. They're almost one up from a GIF, but not quite a video. But it does get that movement going on in there, which is the eye-catching thing. Okay.
Next one.
And the next one is Quik. Sorry, that's me again. This is one that I really like. It is an incredibly simple tool to use. You can designate which orientation you want the video to appear, and you can create it so that it would sit, say, within a story context like this one. You can have it more square if you want to show it on, say, Facebook or Instagram. You can have it more letterbox if you want to put it onto LinkedIn. So the choice is very much yours. You can there are lots of fonts that can be used for the intro and the outro. You can put music on the background. They've got royalty-free music available for that. So there are lots of different options with this. I think what it has, and I've done it in the past, is I've used it as a showcase to showcase my clients or my customers. So to say thank you to people, or not this year, but last year on Love West Norfolk Day, I did a video where I just said thanks to all of the organisations and people that had been really helpful to me in my business the following year. Of course, the Norfolk Chamber was in there. But, you know, it's that kind of thing. So it's a very, very simple thing. And all you need to do, if you've got, say, 10 photos on your phone, you can just pop them into Quik. Say, I want this to be my intro text, this to be my outro text. I want it this style and this color. And, you know, as I say, in very, very short space of time, you've got something that works really well. Okay. So Ripple. There's sort of much of a muchness, Quik and Ripple, but I put them both on there because I know that the main sort of Facebook and Instagram love both of these, and that they have been they have been sort of given the thumbs up and the sanction. And you can see I just use the same styly that I did in the other with the voiceover, the Adobe Spark one, just with some images. I use the free version, which means that you always end up with the Ripple logo at the end. You can actually have a paid for version. I always think it's really important that if you're thinking about using something, use the free version until you're sure that you like using it. And then pay for it if you think this is the one that I want to use. But you know, it's not too bad, I think, if you're just starting, if it shows the logo at the end. Okay.
Most of these things have got free trials as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, if you're thinking about doing any of these, if you can set aside some time, even if it's a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, and just gather together perhaps some content that you think, oh, that might make quite a nice thing, and just see what you can do with each one of them and see which one you feel works better for you. And probably one or two, I wouldn't go the whole hog of all of them, but choose one or two that would be more in line with what you want to do. So let me just go into here and do screen share. So the next one, oops, sorry, I've gone one too far. Oops, go back. There we go. Unfold. Unfold is very similar to Mojo, and it basically unfolds a story. So I think that you can see that from the 3 separate images that we've got there, in terms of this if you saw this as animation. So, you know, we start with something that sort of gives a statement, we move into the next bit, and then this unfolds in a very quick way. So it's very much about taking people through that journey of how 24 fingers can help people with their social media. And you know, the hands are always in there in terms of 24 fingers. So it's a very similar thing. This is why I said that with a lot of them, because they have a similarity, it's a really good idea to check out the one that you like the most. Some of them are a bit more clunky than others. I think that's the easiest way to say it. Video shop. I'm not sure which one this one is.
I've got that, it's you.
Oh, is it? Oh dear. Sorry. Oh.
This little piggy went to market.
I must apologise, but that was just something. I do have those laying around in my office, I must say. But you can see that it allows you to put text over the video as well. So it's a really, really simple thing. The other thing I would think about, you saw that the orientation was in portrait. I was thinking about that more in terms of like stories and things like that. Depending on where you want to place things, you will need to think about the orientation. So if you wanted to put a video like that onto LinkedIn, it would need to be in landscape mode. So you do need to consider those. But Video Shop is definitely an app that is on your phone. I found it a bit clunky on the phone because I've got chunky fingers, and I found that the editing mode of it was a little bit tough on there. But you know, depending on how comfortable you are with using the sliders and things like that, it's quite useful. And I will throw in here one that we haven't included, but I use it all of the time. And it's actually a desktop piece of software. I think it cost me about £25 for the year. And it's something called Screencast-O-Matic. I know it sounds like something out of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote and the Acme company, but it's called Screencast-O-Matic. And you can do talking heads recording. You can record your screen. So if you're doing a presentation and you want to do a voiceover, you can do that. You can also record it so that you've got your screen showing, but you're down in the corner in a little box so people can see you. But what it's also got is a really good editing option. So even if you shoot a video off Screencast-O-Matic, you can import it in and you can chop the ends off and things. So it's a really nice little tool. Okay. And let's go from here. So let's go to the next one. Did we miss one? No, that's it. So I wanted to include this one, and this is one of the newer ones that we've put in. And I think we wanted to highlight it because of the growth of podcasts. And I think that anybody that's thinking about getting into podcasts, one of the things that you might be looking for is how to make the podcast look interesting, with your podcast art, for example. So Headliner is one of the ways that you can actually do this. And it's a really nice way of creating something. So my podcast, for example, is available on all the best podcast platforms, but it's also available on YouTube on what looks like a video, when in fact what it is, it's the audio text sat behind an image that's got a moving element on it. Okay, so I thought the easiest way to explain that might be to show it to you. So I should have my where are we? Where have we gone? Here we go. Let me just see if I'm up here. So yeah, so this is my YouTube channel. So this is This is the podcast here. So I will set it to play. And basically, I'm going to turn the sound off so you don't have to listen to me talking. You can go and listen to the podcast if you want that. But can you see what it actually does? And there are lots of things that you can do with this in order just to give it a little bit more interest rather than just having a flat image. Now you can use, I've used it for the whole episode, but what you can actually do with things like Headliner is you can create short snippets as well. So even if you've created, say, a longer video, perhaps where you're doing a talking head conversation with somebody and you want to promo it, say somewhere like Instagram, and you just want a 10-second clip, you can take the best 10 seconds that you want there and you can pop that behind a headliner image that's got a little bit of animation on it. It will just be much more eye-catching. So for me, it's a newer way of looking at perhaps how you can use a moving image to help you promote something that is more voice driven, if you are somebody that doesn't particularly want to be in front of the screen in terms of a live presentation video. Okay, so I think, where are we? Let's just go to here, and that. And I think those are the 10. So what I think would be best is if we just popped, because we've thrown a load at you folks, and I just want to see if there are any questions, Emma, that we need to pick up on in terms of what people have been asking.
There's a question from Lauren that says, other than iMovie on Apple products, are there any slideshow creating applications that work well with Apple products? I would say anything Adobe and Apple work well together. So some of those 10 are Adobe products. There's a Clips application specifically for Apple. But everything that we've shown you will work on Apple stuff, and most of it will work on, well, I think all of it will work on Android as well, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you wanted to come off of doing it or actually on a tablet or a laptop or anything like that, there's a nice platform that I use called Lumen 5, where you can upload images and put intro and outro slides and text over image and those kinds of things, and you can change the orientation so you can have them for the different social platforms as well. And you can create one video in one shape, and then you can say, resize it for all of these different ones. So you create it once, but you can use it across different platforms. I use the free version of that one because I think the paid for version is a bit too expensive. So that might be another way of doing it.
I was going to say, actually, in terms of social media, we don't want to be creating videos at any more than a minute. Instagram, on your feed, the maximum length for a video is 60 seconds. Facebook's preferred length of video is 40 seconds. And you might be thinking, oh God, how can I ever cram all of what I want to say into such a short space of time? So I was going to show you an example that we created last night for a client. Guy sells security alarms. And this took about half an hour. So let me just share this really quickly. This is a 20-second video. This was just created using a series of Shutterstock images with the captions below. And this will go out as a Facebook ad campaign. So nothing too extravagant, but certainly a lot more engaging than a flat image.
Yeah, and I think that as we've said, we've just highlighted 10 that we know and that we've used, but there are hundreds and thousands of them out there, and there are always new ones coming on the market. For me, I think the big thing is don't be too ambitious. Don't say, I'm going to have one of those and one of those and one of those and one of those, because that way it becomes quite confusing as well, and you may feel the pressure to be creating stuff in these places when you don't need to be putting that pressure on yourself. And And even something as simple as creating a GIF. Emma and I use a nice little website called Easy GIF. So it's EZ GIF. You know, really simple. And all you do is say, you know, you upload, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 images and just say save, and hey presto, you've got a GIF happening there. It's a very, very simple thing, and you'd be surprised how effective those can actually be. So yeah, it doesn't have to be overly complicated, folks. And if you're just starting on it, start with things that are relatively simple. Don't try and be maybe too ambitious right from the get-go.
We've got 5 minutes left for questions. We've done well, Kathy.
Absolutely, yeah.
We've done well sticking our time in.
Anything else people want to ask, or any experiences that you've had?
Kelly just popped into chat, but we'll be back tomorrow looking at SEO.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, any opinion, advice on content in terms of time and
yeah, I do. So always subtitle and succinct sentences. Like people's attention span's so short that we can't do War and Peace. So if we can get a caption in kind of 5 or 6 words per line, that would work. Anna said, what did Anna say? Anne said, do these work on laptops as well as mobile devices? Yes. Personally, for me, I do most of my stuff on a laptop because I too have chunky fingers. So laptops work better for me, but yeah, all of this stuff can be done on your mobile.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is if you're using text on them, which is absolutely fine, make sure that you're not using all capitals because it's really hard to read real long capitals. Make sure you're using a font generally that hasn't got a serif on it. So you want something a bit straight because again, it's easier to read. And make sure that your font size is large enough that it's properly visible on a mobile phone. Because remember, if you are doing it on a desktop, it's going to look a hell of a lot bigger than when it appears on a 6 or a 7-inch screen. Okay. And I think probably if I just say that what we've got here, where are we? So we've got that there. So this is, if any of you want to have a chat with us about anything that we've done or said or spoken about, this is the link that you can use just to pop something directly into our calendar. And we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you about any of this. And you will get these slides, so that will be on there. And just to say, got a few things coming up. So tomorrow I'm a busy girl because I'm running a networking meeting in the morning, which all of you are welcome to attend. It's a free to attend. It's aimed at people based in Norfolk, but you don't have to be based in Norfolk to come along. So, you know, if you want to spend an hour tomorrow morning chatting to some other business owners, please come along. Then we've got our SEO stuff for the chamber in the afternoon. And then coming up, we've got a couple of our own things going on, which is we're doing a couple of Instagram based ones. So the first one is making sure your profile is fit for purpose. And then the next one is about how to use stories most effectively. So, you know, do feel free to come and join us for any of those if they rock your boat. Anything you want to add there, Emma?
I would say don't be scared and give it a try. See what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope that was okay. And back over to you then, Kayleen.
Thank you so much. I also want to say a massive thank you to all our attendees. They've been so engaging in the chat. It's been lovely to see all your feedback and recommendations, and when people are saying, oh, I'm a photographer, it's nice saying, yes, I can recommend them. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I have put a survey link again. We'd love to hear your feedback on how you thought the session when obviously we use this feedback to create the event planner moving forward. Also, as we said, Kathy and Emma are back with us tomorrow. So again, feel free to join us then. I'll share a copy of the presentation along with the recording as and when it's available. So yeah, the sun is now shining where I am, and I hope it is where you are. So enjoy the rest of your day, week, and hopefully we'll see you face to face in the near future. Bye everyone.